I want to start going into the fertility piece with you recently speaking out against ACOG's recent statement. And I'll say ACOG's recent statement basically said, there's no reason to investigate, calling it unknown infertility. That's enough. Like, we don't know the cause of it. Like, and we don't need to know the cause of it. We just need to get women into IVF. And by them pursuing the cause of it, them pursuing endometriosis diagnosis, ACOG, I'm coming for you. But them pursuing all that, they're wasting their time when they could just get to IVF. And the reality is that a lot of unexplained infertility does turn out to be endometriosis. That was my story. I was told I was old. I'm like, I had a baby at 40. They're like, well, now a year later, you're just old and your eggs don't work. And so like the only thing we can do is IVF. And I had so much blood work, so much testing done. And I go through IVF. And here's the thing. I had horrible periods, my entire, jumpstart to my period journey. I get put on the pill for that. I then think I'm so clever of like, I just won't even have a period because even on the pill, they still sucked. They still hurt. It wasn't better. I had multiple ruptured ovarian cysts. At any point, someone could have clocked this as endo. Yeah. And then I come off, I've already got a nutrition degree. My period goes missing. So I'm like, I got to get that back. And then it comes back and it's hell all over again. And I worked on that from nutrition and lifestyle, got out of pain. Okay. So doctor said, this couldn't be endometriosis. You have no pain. That's not what's going on. It was going through IVF that flared my endo so bad, so bad. And nobody talks about that. My third egg retrieval, I couldn't walk. And it was 3 weeks. And they were like, take oral NSAIDs and take it under the tongue. And how about some tramadol, which is an opioid as well. And I'm like, none of this touches the pain. None of it is touching the pain. And I found the endometriosis I just incidentally, Prunova was like, hey girl, want a full body MRI? If you post about it, we'll trade. I'm like, cool. You guys know I'm full transparency about stuff like this. I got that done and they were like, this sure looks like endo. We can't diagnose that. You need to get this worked up further. And when I went to my fertility doctor, so I had one fertility doctor, she left, get put with this other guy who's the head of the clinic. And I'm like, look, I got endo and I have adenomyosis. And he's like, adenomyosis is just a new trendy diagnosis, like ADHD. I'm like, well, I freaking have ADHD too. And there's actually a connection to all this. But he was like, your endometriosis doesn't matter. Just keep doing cycles, just keep transferring. And that is exactly what ACOG is getting behind. And their entire statement is based on profit and not the well-being of people. IVF is so inefficient. I was looking at a recent study that was just like hundreds of millions of cycles and like I think it was like 38 million success out of like, I'm probably skewing these numbers right now, but I just looked at the percent of success. It's less than 50%. In fact,
in a lot about it somewhere, it's not good.
In a lot of cases, it's less than 30%. Yeah. You're going to go through IVF. You're going to spend $30,000 per cycle. You're going to have to do 4 or more cycles. Like, what are we looking at? Like hundreds of thousands of dollars with less than a 30% chance success rate. And ACOG is like, just get there, just do it, just pay the bills. And they're not even recognizing that there are things that can be done. Why wouldn't we want to do nutrition? If you're not fertile, something is going on with your body. We need to figure out why, because that's not a natural state. And whatever it is going to affect the outcome of a baby. Like, why wouldn't we want to offer women that? Anyhow, I could rant forever, but I want you to say your piece on it because I know you also spoke out and I felt like there was only a handful of us in those comments saying this. Like there was in terms of practitioners, because it was all of these patients, especially women with endometriosis, being like, we don't get diagnosed on average for 7 to 10 years. We live with horrible, horrible symptoms. You do nothing to actually train the detection of this. ACOG does not make sure that only the right people are operating on this. They offer no protections. And then they're out here just being these greedy little goblins being like, oh yeah, just get to IVF. Let's take your money on this. And it was you and me, endosurgeon Jeff, like a few practitioners in there, but so many patients in the comments being like, this is wrong. And that's why in my comment, I was like, you need to listen to women. Like, why are you not? Look at what these women are saying. And you're just out here just being like, just pay us.
Keep going. Keep pushing through, and keep hurting yourself. Because that's what it is. If you're in a flared up state, if your hormones are imbalanced, your immune system signaling, fires everywhere, and you just throw yourself into another retrieval cycle, like women are coming out feeling horrible.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh no, let's go into your transfer now. And they're like, they can't even imagine going to transfer.
Let's flare you with inflammation, knowing damn well, at least you should know because you're a freaking doctor, that, this flare is going to raise natural killer cells. Those are going to kill a fetus. I say that as somebody who has lost multiple embryo transfers. And I look back at this and I'm like, God, if I had the knowledge that I had now, things would have been so different. But the idea that we're going to do a retrieval, we're going to flare you, we're going to make a hostile environment in your uterus, and then we're going to just put an embryo in there.
Transfer,
And so much of this is also being driven by private equity groups. And I want people to understand that IVF and women's fertility and these predatory behaviors are because private equity groups are push women into as many cycles as possible.
Well, I mean, it is an opportunity financially. If you think about how much infertility is on the rise, our fertility rates are dropping, right? And we have to look at what's going on. What is going on? And there's many reasons when it's unexplained, or is it we just didn't have the time to go through and explain it? We have a label for you, it's unexplained. But really, there might be lesions.
Yeah.
There might be endometriomas, right? There might be egg quality issues. There might be immune dysfunction, right? Because that uterus, it is brilliant. I always tell our clients, it is brilliant. It knows when it's safe enough to receive, and it has the blueprint for human development. It's not going to just listen because some signaling's coming in and saying, grow a baby now. It's going to be like, no, sorry, not working, right? And so we really have to, like you said, listen to women, because I've had clients that come with 3, 4, 5 failed IVF cycles, and they're depleted. And it takes us anywhere from 4 months minimum to 1 year to get them out of that flare, post all of these cycles that they've been through, getting their body just to really find safety again and get their hormones, to balance out, get that gut, nourished again, get those eggs nourished again. And then we are very supportive of saying, hey, let's support you into your IVF cycle now. Because now your body's feeling good, it feels right, maybe it's a retrieval. So we've had supports of women going into retrieval cycles that have been very successful, into IVF cycle, but it requires a full integrative approach. And I know you had that episode, I think, with maybe it was your own surgeon, where we talked about endomapping and mapping that whole body out, understanding what's going on, look at your nutrition, look at your terrain, because anti-inflammatory isn't just a diet. It's a state of your body, in the metabolic state of your body, the hormonal state of your body. All of these are so important. And if you're spending tens of thousands, you're throwing yourself, it's a baby. A baby is a lifelong commitment. Give yourselves, that voice to say, you know what? I want to take 3, 6 months and really do these foundational things, because that's what they are. They're foundational, to get back to a fertile state of the body.
Yeah. And I think that it's so important to recognize that you don't have to forego IVF if that's what you think is your best chance, but you have to recognize. So, something that I found really helpful, I did a 4th retrieval. So my women's hormones board, I actually went on that. I was like, I need to clear estrogen and have the right estrogens. My doctor supported me on that. So this was my 4th retrieval. I wanted a little bit of a flare too, because I was going to go into excision surgery. I'm like, I want you to find everything. But what happens in IVF is that when you're doing an egg retrieval, you're injecting yourself with FSH, typically LH as well. And that is causing your estrogen levels to rise. I mean, your estrogen levels, they can be in the 300s. Sometimes women are much higher than that. That is going to stimulate that endometriosis tissue. So wherever it is in your body is going to grow. So I don't want women So like, I don't know. I feel like I just have to be clear on this because I think sometimes women are just like, oh, so you're anti-IVF? No, because like I clearly did IVF. It's always like when people are like, oh, you're anti-birth control because like you're
I
criticizing
hear all the time,
it.
are you anti-surgery? I'm like, no, I'm not anti anything. I'm like, whatever is right for you.
Absolutely.
And an integrative approach with a little bit of a pause before you go into anything. Let's just pause and like look at everything, because the whole rush and quick fix and like, fast food approach to this is what I don't like.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this conversation, then I definitely want you to check out this.